The latest DC Finest is out. Sgt Rock, the Rock of Easy Company. Now this is, again, one of the biggest ones I think I've got. 616 pages, lot of quality for $39.99. Obviously you probably can find it cheaper than that, of course. I paid £21 or so, and that was from Books Etc. So always worth checking out in the UK for that. I think, again, just one of the best. And I say that each and every time I get these DC Finest. I don't think they're going to improve it, but yet again, they really just come out with some great stuff. Mainly Joe Kubert's artwork all the way through. It's obviously got the details there in the table of contents. Robert Kanigher for the actual writing as well. They're all very short. You can see there the page numbers, about 14 or so pages for most of them. Some a bit longer, some a bit less. And you've got the origin story there. You can see Sgt Rock, the Rock, as it said there. His name's changed slightly in the early ones, but the artwork is just, I think, perfect. Really sharp, beautifully restored. Great stories in most cases. The one thing I did find slightly confusing with the Easy Company, lots of different characters keep turning up and then sort of disappearing. You have this character, very few sort of consistent characters. You got Bulldozer, etc., but that's about it. Now, probably completely wrong, but it just didn't seem that was that many. But of course, Sgt Rock, he tells the story at the start of it, not straight away, but certainly later on. The stories generally start with him discussing something, turning to the camera or turning to us, and then discussing what sort of the message or so of the book you got there. And you get some character who maybe he's a coward, or a character that's sort of looking upwards and looking away, looking at various things he walks through. But at the point when Easy Company's under attack, suddenly he takes control, and you've got just a brilliant story. And there's lots of variations. You had lots of ones with planes attacking, lots of stories, of course, with tanks, where you've got characters rolling under the tanks, blowing the tanks up, or using a gun to get the people inside the tank, and so on. Laughter on Snakehead Hill, and other explosive battle action stories. I assume, and I haven't got any of these original Army at War comics, that they had additional stories as well. Now, I don't know if they'll be reprinted. I assume they will be reprinted in the DC War book when it comes out for this year, because the years that are covered are 1959 to 1962 in this case. Now, hopefully they bring out a few more volumes of this Sgt Rock, Tank 711, a new Easy Company story. Well, it says Easy Company, it's not a new Sgt Rock story, so Easy Company obviously is the thing that they're pushing here. But Sgt Rock obviously is the central character, and you've got, like I say, a variety of characters that turn up. Again, brilliant artwork. However, previously there was a couple of showcase volumes. Now, I haven't got, unfortunately, any of the showcase volumes, so I can't show you those. But there was 4 volumes of showcase, and they included the GI Combat one, which was right at the start, number 68. But the first volume included issue 81 to 117, and then it was all the way to issue 216, and that was in volume 4. So hopefully it does get all the way up to that number. Now, apparently this Sgt Rock, Army at War, etc., went for quite a while. I think it got up to about 422, issue 422. It was called Sgt Rock at that point. Now, I had to say, I didn't buy them at the time. I really didn't buy. I mean, I knew of their existence. I would pick them up and look at them, but I wasn't a regular buyer of Sgt Rock. So these stories are all, for me, quite fresh, and they're just great to read. Now, of course, I've read lots and lots of different war stories over the years. There's loads of great volumes that are available, and I'm going to show a few examples at the back as well of this. You've got this one, The Silent Piper. Now, I must... bagpipes, I'm not a fan of bagpipes. Sorry to all... But still, the bagpipe story there, he sort of talks, obviously saying about that they're not real hero. He won't play until they prove themselves. And you've got the characters obviously there, and you finally have the bagpipes, of course, in the story. Sorry to spoil the story, but it's pretty obvious what's going to happen at the end. Though, lots and lots of different stories as mentioned. So you've got lots of things with various deserts, lots of frozen wasteland stories. They do a whole mix, some underwater ones as well, or water ones, obviously, where you got the tank there, you can see. And occasionally, of course, there with the DC, I assume that there was an advert or something else. Unfortunately, they didn't include those. I wish they would include the advert. I do not know why they can't have that. I love those ones where you just got close up of his eyes there. No exit for easy, as it says there. That's spread over obviously a couple of chapters, that one. A new kind of war. You got like characters like Marie turning up in the book. And then, as mentioned, you've got a bit of a icy scene there. Gosh, that would be pretty bad. And quickly run through the rest of the stories here. I think this is an absolutely crackingly good book. Great stories. I haven't read every single one, but certainly it's one of those ones, again, I just dip into. Because it's the story, obviously, you don't have to have it from one to next to next to next. Battle of Pajama Commandos. Not certain actually what happened in that one, but I'll just quickly pass over there. And it's continuing, obviously, part 2 there of that. And that's it. That's the end of the book. 616 pages. I mean, really, it's just absolutely brilliant. Our Army at War. Hell, this is the war book I mentioned, the DC Finest one. It's a John one. Came out fairly recently as well. Really worth checking out. Now, the stories are from 1957, so I assume some of the stories that are included, that I'm sorry, I should say missing from the Sgt Rock, will be included in this book here. Well, obviously subsequent volumes when it comes out. And hopefully, of course, they'll do stories beforehand as well. The artwork, I think, is pretty amazing in this as well. Pretty worth checking out for that. But the stories are a mix of things like Star Spangled comics or war comics, Army at War, etc. And I enjoyed that as well. I think all the genre ones. Oh, and Black Hawk. Now, those ones are also available in Showcase as well as other volumes, of course. However, I was going to mention there's also a Sgt Rock Archives as well. That went for issues 1 to 4, volumes 1 to 4 as well. Now, unfortunately, that didn't go up that many issues. So hopefully the DC Finest will cover more than that period. Here's another one, Army at War, Our Army at War. And these are very early stories, 1952, 53, that sort of period. They're in black and white, of course, showcase ones, black and white. I thoroughly enjoyed them. I really love the quality of the artwork in these because with the ink pages, you can just see it so much better sometimes than with the colour. And you can see lots and lots and lots of great stories. And this also went up to about 500 odd pages. Paid £4.99 in Forbidden Planet for one of those ones you think, oh, I'll have that. It's in a sale. I will definitely pick that up. Absolutely fine stories all the way through. I, the Gun, the Mountain Trooper, and of course many others. Now, I don't know if it includes the covers. I haven't seen a cover here when flicking through just quickly here. However, that was that one. DC, of course, have brought out loads of other ones, but there are also other books that are worth checking out, such as this one, Our Artists at War, the best of American war comics. Now, this one's Tomorrow's. Tomorrow's a great thing about it. Even if it's out of print, on their website, you can normally get the digital download. So if you want to get this book, you can normally get that. And this covers, of course, All American Men of War. Also Marvel, of course, Captain America. Two-Fisted Tales, of course, from EC Comics. Master Race, Frontline Combat. Also, of course, Enemy Ace. Now, I think that came out in a showcase volume. There's probably also some archives, I guess, of those as well. Hopefully, they will be included in the DC Finest at some point. There's also Blazing Combat, of course, from Warren. Sgt Rock, of course, there. Got that brilliant cover there. And, of course, Sergeant Fury, the Deserter, as it says. And also many, many other ones that came a lot later. I think some really great stories. Now, it gives a little bit of detail about Sgt Rock, but not a huge amount. Actually, I checked up a few of my fanzines and I found a few that also got other things about Sgt Rock and Joe Kubert, who I think is an absolutely superb artist. Then you've got Nam. There's a Nam book there, obviously came from Marvel. Vietnam Journal, The Nam Again, and also some other ones, obviously there, The Punisher, Garth. I think that's one's just absolutely great. Love that one. Garth Ennis's Battle of Britain, Battle Classics. That was a brilliant volume. Absolutely love that one. And worth checking out if you want to find out more about war comics. This one, War Comics, this is from the Fantagraphics Atlas Comics Library. I really love them, and I particularly always love the brilliant introductions by Dr. Michael J. Vaslow. Gives lots of details about, obviously, the Atlas comics, but also about the various pulps that came out. Also things like the Spy Fighters and those sort of things. Of course, there is a spy book coming out fairly soon from Fantagraphics, and you've got all the war titles there. And then you've got the actual stories here, War Comics. The stories, I think, generally are okay. They are not the greatest of war comics, but still, I think, some fine, decent ones. And this one, DC Special. Now, this is number 5, The Secret Lives of Joe Kubert. Doesn't include all the characters I would love to have seen. Obviously, the Vigilante, Johnny Quick, and then you've got, obviously, Sgt Rock, Easy Company. And this one before is the Cartoonist at Home, which I think is quite a nice little touch, just putting that little there. But then we're on to this one, The Eyes of a Blind Gunner. So, unfortunately, it doesn't actually give details about where it comes from, the issue number, which I thought was slightly odd. It's always nice, normally with the DC ones, where they put down the bottom, it says, blah, 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 Star Spangled or Army at War, etc. But in this case, it didn't include that information. So you've got Sgt Rock, but you've got a few others as well. You, of course, got this one, which is really quite an unusual little, obviously, Indian story there. And also onto Hawkman, which of course is probably another one of those great characters that Joe Kubert did. Did, of course, lots of others, as you can see from the cover. But that Hawkman one is just absolutely brilliant. Also, the Viking Prince. Now, I don't know if any of these have been reprinted recently, but I would love to see a collection of those as well. Are you going to get the book? Have you got it already? Is it of any interest? Will you be collecting the entire set of the Sgt Rock stories? I must admit, I've thoroughly enjoyed them. As mentioned, I didn't read them at the time. Obviously, these stories are probably a bit before my time, but I certainly didn't read any of the Sgt Rock stories from the 60s or 70s. So it is great to finally get some of these stories and see them in a really nice quality volume. And I think all the DC finest so far have been really impressive.